Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. Today is Sunday, October 18th, and I'm getting ready to run my report for the COVID-19 report for the U.S. Before we begin, I just want to mention that if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Caribou Data Science channel. That really means a lot to me. It really encourages me to keep making these reports and know they're useful to you. Also, if you find this report both encouraging and helpful, please like and share the video. So now let's just go ahead and run the report, the COVID-19 report for today for the U.S. As you can see, the U.S. has continued to struggle with cases with over 29,800 cases per day on average, but only 937 deaths per day. Okay, let's take a look at the mortality rate. You can see this line here is 1%, so you can see that the mortality rate is about the line here is 5%. So this means the average mortality rate is 3.5 to 4%, but you can see all the days when the mortality rate was below this average. So that's a good sign. Okay, that means that the ratio between deaths and cases is increasing. Okay, if we take a look at the cases, this is no surprise. You can see a continued climb upward, even the beginning of a third spike right here. But this gray line is what's more interesting. According to a Washington University's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, there's a 17 to 21 day incubation period. In other words, there's a 17 to 21 day between the time you're infected and the time that death occurs. So that means that anything beyond this 21 days should have been taken into account. Okay? But everything to the right here has yet to come. But nonetheless, we should be seeing an increase in deaths because of this right up in here, because of this here. But as you'll see in one moment, we're not seeing an increase in deaths. We're actually seeing a decrease in deaths. Wow. Spiked in April, and has declined continually since April 15th or 16th. A slight speed bump here, but not enough to alter the trend. Okay? Interesting, huh? That looks like good news to me. If we zoom into June on the daily numbers, you can see once again a continuing increase in number of cases per day. The incubation, 7 to 21 day incubation period. And of course, the question remains, if the plot is moving to the left, where are the deaths associated with this spike here? Because they're all beyond that 21 day incubation period. Okay, deaths, you can see them close up, a continual decline here. A slight blip up here, but it remains to be seen how bad it is. But nonetheless, we know that since April, deaths have been declining in the U.S. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly numbers. This is the average number of cases per week. You can see here this huge spike in cases back in here in July, August, and September, followed by a second spike. We're currently in a second spike. Okay, and it's not good that we're above the average line here, but if we look at the deaths, we see the exact opposite effect. We see the average line here, of course, right? The average number of deaths per week. We had this huge spike in deaths back here, despite the fact we had relatively small cases. Okay, but look at all these days, all these weeks underneath the weekly average for deaths. Okay. Now, if we look at cases, you can see cases have also steadily declined, which is at a monthly level, which is kind of interesting. Just so you know what the overall model seems to show, but it's just another way of looking at the data. Deaths, you can see deaths were down in all September, but have fallen a 3-month increase from June, July, and August. We saw an increase followed by a decline in September. And there's a good chance that October will finish below September also. Okay, this is just 2 reports, not particularly interesting, but not necessarily useful. I'm just plotting 2 different moving averages for deaths. The same plot, a 14-day moving average, which is the red, and a 30-day moving average, which is the blue. Now, again, it's just an interesting way to look at the data, but doesn't necessarily give us any insight. But anyway, if you have found this report to be helpful, then don't forget to subscribe to the Caribou Data Science channel, and also don't forget to like and share this video if you found it encouraging, because the news certainly is encouraging on the cases on deaths. And of course, pandemics and diseases are measured by deaths and not by the number of cases. So that's something we want to keep in mind. Okay. Anyway, thanks so much for your time today, and we'll catch you on the next report later on.